you always venom until thy kingdom come. Eternally let me show you where I come from. Yeah, with candlelight and body action, how we could hold a meditation and we don't meditate alone. We meditate deep like a madame. You make me push a little further, and you inspire me to rise, mama, until my blood are pumping harder. Your love is making a better me. You make me stay a little longer. Give me the vibes to get up, mama, to rise up, mama, to the top, mama, boy. The to push up, push up. Woman, your loving is the deep. Look how you full of body still a while. Your body a fire.
What's up, audience?
Good night, good night. I'm not hearing you. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, just be silence because it's a solemn moment here we're talking about.
Yes.
We the deaths of bomber, Calypsonian bomber, one of the Golden Age veterans, one of the last surviving Golden Age veterans of the Calypso. We have the deaths of Tony Williams, one of the master inventors of the pan man, who, the spiderweb pan and kind of refining the idea of the cycle of fifths and the chromatic scale on the instrument, the only musical instrument that resolves the cycle of fifths on the instrument itself in such a way, the steel band, and Anthony Williams, one of those who's able to codify that on the instrument itself with the spiderweb pan. And of course, yesterday, the news of the death of one of the co-founders, the co-founder of Kaiso Jazz, the late, great Clive Zander, who, along with Schofield Pilgrim, there at the QRC, in the QRC Scouts Band Room, started finding, crafting this language, a new language of music, pursuing the language of improvisation through the lines of jazz, which we all know. Kaiso, of course, predates jazz as recorded music by 5 years. It's the older sister of jazz. Let us remember that. And what Zander did and Schofield, they also were pursuing the idea of improvisation down the other corridor as well, down the corridor of the Trinidad and Tobagonian language of improvisation through the pan, through the extempore, through the rhythm section, through the kinds of things that happen when Trinidad and Tobagonian people improvise on the spot, whether it be the humor, whether it be the wit, whether it be the way that the way that we scat, um, all those things, all those clues as to the way that we conjugate now, because jazz is a refined language of how to conjugate the moment, how to make the moment vibrate and live even more, whilst being rooted in the immortal rhythm of the heartbeat and the cosmos, whilst responding to everything in the universe and environment around you, and all the other family of musicians and the people in the audience, and all of those things, and the music of that, and being in harmony with that, but also being able to speak and utter now in a very, very, very particular way. And Xander pursued that line very, 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 very particularly, and was able to emerge with a kind of beauty, and a new language of music that we now call Kaitso jazz. And you know, um, we pay tribute to him and that incredible album of his, Clive Xander's Here, with that kind of thing, Calypso Jazz Innovations. And of course, one of the most popular songs from that jazz album, where he was digging deep into the Orisha traditions, into the voice and sound of the god Ogun. Ogun, god of iron, the god of the steel pan, the god of the god of the oxidation process, the god of the civilizing process, the god of tool making, the god of crafting civilization out of the bush, the god of finding the path and opening the path, um, warrior god, one of the gods of Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, it is no coincidence that that's one of the places that Xander would go to find the muse to be able to take the music in the direction that he took it in. So we paying tribute tonight. We're going to be listening to foundation of music of the modern Trinidad and Tobago song. So we're going to be listening to Shorty, Maestro, Shadow, Nelson, Valentino, Andre Tanka, Xander, a whole set of the music that comprises that thrust into the new sound with the fusions of all the different musics and that kind of stuff. And we're going to be listening to some of the greatest songs, that kind of make up that bridge to the modern Trinbago, tonight. But let's begin at beginnings. Source, African people business, Ogun, Clive Xander.
Ogumbelele dame yo. Ogumbelele. Ogumbelele dame yo. Ogumbelele. Awa mangi, awa pangili. Ogumbelele dame yo. Awa mangi, awa pangili. Ogumbelele dame yo. Ogun, ogun, bele, ogun, belele, ogun, 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 bele, ogun, bele, bele, ogun, belelele, bele, ogun, ogun, bele.
Rest in peace, Clive. And so they had Clive descending a crack shot set of musicians, the incredible drumming of Tobias and more. It's one of a couple of songs that we play from that seminal album that utters Kaiso jazz into the world and the family of world music. All right, Clive Zander um, passing today. And so Ogun, this one of the most ancient deities in the Yoruba pantheon, and Clive going into that song and the Trinbagonian kind of interpretation of those rhythms and that kind of stuff, and using that but it's a more meditative take, because if you know Ogun's rhythm and stuff but he's start to get the more contemplative side of the deity and stuff. Incredible interpretation, incredible song, and just the beginning. So we're talking about Clive and all these guys in the 70s and stuff. This is Trinidad and Tobago crucible music. At this moment, the music is going to splint into all kinds of different directions, right? Everything from chutney, soca, rapso, all the different fusions and stuff gonna happen there. And the Orisha and as the African musicians and stuff have to go deeper into themselves, as has been happening throughout the time here. From of course, when we came, the whole point was to try to de-Africanize everybody and empty out the oldest civilization on the planet from people, and the banning of the drum and your language and all those different kinds of things. And it's been a process of refinding, revisiting, and reconsecrating that part of yourself. And musicians have played a great part in the reassembling of the African self. And the music is a huge key into that journey. And in the 70s, that is happening. And the music, the fusions are happening, soca and all those kinds of things. The deepening of the music, because it is going into the Baptist yards and into the Orisha palace, and it is doing that work. And we heard that with that with Zander. But let's listen to it happening again here. Even though it is in a folk ditty and that kind of stuff, but in this particular album, this pioneer, who's pioneering at the same time Clive is pioneering in his own form, is working with East Indian traditional musicians of the highest caliber, and African musicians of the highest caliber, rooted in their forms. I'm talking, of course, of Andre Tanka, and the great album of the soundtrack, BIM. And I wanted to play Andre Bedou's Drum Call, which would have been a brilliant. I couldn't get the track. Would have been a brilliant follow up to that Ogun. But I'm gonna just bring you the sound of Andre Bedou and the pursuit of that line of self through these fusions in this song from them.
water. You ain't got no place to go on the street where the hunter becomes the hunted. Not even the lion can sleep in peace. It don't pay to live your life on the run. The other way the preacher man with his talk about what is right and what is wrong. You never have to stop in this Christian song. Lava baby, lambi boom boom ba. Lava baby, lambi boom boom. All alone in deep river water. You ain't got no place to go on the street where the hunter becomes the hunted. Not even the lion can sleep in peace. It don't pay to live your life on the run. The other way the preacher man with his talk about what is right and what is wrong. He never have to stop in this Christian song. Love baby, love you, boom, boom, bye. Love baby, love you, love boom.
That's the title track of BIM, the seminal soundtrack album BIM and Fusion and many others partnered with Andre Tanker in the construction of a blueprint for Trinidad and Tobago fusion music. So, you know, we in the passing of the great Clive Zander, we are dealing with foundation stuff. We're listening to foundation stuff, and the pursuit of that line, as Leroy Clark would say, the late great Grandmaster Leroy Clark would say, the pursuit of that straight line to the soul. And there are a whole set of young people, of course, making that pursuit, just like as when Clive and Andre were doing this stuff, they were young, pursuing those experiments, pursuing those things. Here is one of the young jazz guns of Trinidad and Tobago pursuing that line. And we're going to be listening to a couple of the young jazz guns in these 2 hours. And be looking at them side by side, the experiments that have happened in the past, and, you know, as that paces them and their way forward. This is the young gun, Etienne Charles, with Juve Barrio, going back to origins.
ven a me asunción. Juve, paveo, vale, 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 ven a me asunción.
Yeah, man, that was Etienne Charles there with a little help. Songs like from Wendelman Warren and from Tree Canal. Doing the background vocals there. Juve Barrio, again using that as a lift off. The whole Juve refrain for his improvisational experiments. Krabby, I want you to switch the next Xander. So we were going to play instead Chip Down at this number. You could do that, right? So let's hear Clive go down that same route, that Juve route with Chip Down. Yeah, man. Hey, Toby Tobias on drums. Now, again, Trinidad and Tobago run through Toby Tobias. Toby Tobias ran to the States. He had had enough. Just like Shadow went and planted peas in Tobago. Well, Toby went and planted peas in the coal because of the licks and stuff we get here in Trinidad. This is one of the greatest drummers, I believe, that the Caribbean has ever produced, and thus one of the great drummers on the planet. Toby Tobias, we lost him just like how we lost Fitzroy Coleman, and we lost so many others who had just had enough of Trinidad and the stupidity and the licks and that kind of stuff that we continue to put out on our artists and just bust it, just exile themselves from the space. Yes, we just heard Clive there with Chip Down, that incredible, again, going into source. Again, remember what I said. Clive was pursuing improvisation through the two different lines. So a lot of people used to say Clive solos weren't orthodox jazz solos, obeying the kind of scalar kind of runs and different kinds of things and technical jazz scales and whatever. But what they don't understand was that Clive was pursuing improvisation down the two lines. It's called Kaiso jazz, and he was saying his thesis, part of the thesis was that improvisation, this African phenomenon of ability to conjugate the now, has different kinds of forms in the different places it arrives at. And that the Trinidad form, which again, as a recorded music, predates jazz by 5 years, has a very particular syntax. And he was pursuing that syntax. And he was doing that by jumping into the source music, the source codes, right? The Orisha music, the Juve music, the Carnival rhythm section music, pan, all those different spaces to find those things and into the genius musicians of the golden age, because locked inside of them is the key. Here's another young gun interpreting rhythm and using that as a jump off for improvisation and interpretation, using the jazz language and that kind of stuff. We had him in an incredible interview 2 weeks ago. That show ran again last week. I'm talking about Jesse Ryan, and here he is with the Mount Colin tambourine band from Tobago, using tambourine band rhythms as his jumping off point and that kind of stuff, exploring the idea of improvisation, the idea of conjugating the now, that African sacrament, this African cipher of the now and the ability to improvise, which has made us survive, the thing that has made us survive until this moment. This is Big Old Shoes this is a new song. This is new debut music dropping here on Indigenous. Jesse Ryan from the album Bridges, which is on list top 25 jazz albums released in the year 2021 and that kind of stuff. We boy, Jesse Ryan, featuring the Mount Colin tambourine band, Big Old Shoes. Big Old Shoes by Jesse Ryan. Hold up on the next scribe, uh, Krabby. Hold up on the next scribe. We going down, so we looking at the foundation of the new the modern music and the modern Trinbago soul, because that music conjugates the modern Trinbago soul. That we are different people than we were in the 60s and the 50s and that kind of stuff because of that music. This music that I'm playing here. This artist, I'll be play one track from him already because as Clive is pursuing his experiments in that thing, he's also pursuing his from again that seminal album, BIM. We heard his experiments with Andrew Beddoe, the Orisha, the folk, the richness of that Andrew Beddoe bass, basso profondo. Here is Andrew's experiments with East Indian music with John B. Cole from the seminal album BIM. And Tritanka and them boys wasn't joking in that period. Them men wasn't joking. When them men went into that studio, it was with serious mission. Serious mission. That album and these songs pacing all of us younger guns out here. Them is the things that we have to sit down and study. Them is our scrolls. You know? Here is another one of the pioneers in that 70s period when they crafted the new Trinbago out of people who they tried to divide. Never are they supposed to ever come together as one. Ever. You know? They're supposed to remain perpetual enemies and stuff so that we can't concentrate the fire on the real enemy of the empire and the imperial capitalists and all of those, the white supremacy and all the different things and that kind of stuff. And in the middle of this fusion, the creation of this thing, SOKAH, soca, and the song that really does it next.
Change the accent of carnival to a groovy bacchanal, wailing, expressing the old feeling. Who needs changing? Wake up, people, examine your minds. Get with it. The change of the times. It's a new generation, endless vibrations. Right on. Right on, right on, right on. Hit the horns. Come baby, oh baby, jump with me. Come baby, oh baby, jump with me. Change your musical structure, make it super sweeter. Tuesday morning when we wailing, bring on this funky feeling. Uptight, feeling so fine. Come on, let the music take your mind. Get with the feeling, it's so exciting. Right on, right on, right on, right on.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
A new musical expression to ease today's frustration. Move it, come on, groove it, endlessly, let me feel it. Come on, people, check out the scene. Take a side, the music is me. Can you dig it, brother? Get it all together. Right on, right on, right on, right on. carnival Sunday night. Don't dig no blues, don't dig no fright. Hey, whining, Lord, we prancing. Rock your baby, kung fu fighting. Music so bad, fuss your hip. Rock your boat, rock your ship. It's really out of sight, makes you feel like dynamite. Right on, right on, right on, right on. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hit me horns.
The sound of soca entering the room. There's the extended studio session of Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, where with James Brown, you could hear when funk enters the universe, where Papa's Got a Brand New Bag starts off as soul. And you hear in the jam, as James has that band, because he was always pursuing groove in a way that nobody else was pursuing groove. And you hear funk enter the room in the song. The spirit of funk enter the room. I was with the late Tony Hall on Trinity campus in Boston when autumn came, right? Where the premonition of winter entered. 1 minute it was summer, and we could actually see a wind like up in the sky. Now this is a campus with a massive church where they used to burn witches and stuff. We had Trinidad and Tobago, Midnight Robbers, and Peregrinads, and David Rudder jumping up and consecrating our ground where witches were burnt. Either back in them Salem times and that kind of stuff, right there on the Trinity campus by this church. So we there with the traditional mass of Trinidad and Tobago. And all of us there, and we turned, and we could have seen this wind descend and then start to come across the campus through the town, and then come across the campus, and the wind, this wind, and then all of a sudden it was winter, it was autumn, it was the season had changed. Well, what you just heard there was the season changing with Endless Vibration. The season changed. Soca entered the universe. Yeah, people say before it started into the experiments with Indrani and that kind of stuff, but Endless Vibration was where that experiment became cosmic. Now, again, 70s, we're paying tribute to Clive Zander, rest in peace, master, co-founder of Kaiso Jazz. We're looking at all the different experiments of that period running simultaneous that created the modern Trinbago sound. Now, I believe soca has many different godfathers. Yes, I know Rashoti I, founder of SOKH, soca, East Indian music, African rhythms, Calypso bloodline. Yes. But there were other experiments that were happening at the same time and that kind of stuff that were also extremely, extremely, extremely important. Different fonts and sources of fusion. Here's another source of fusion. Just like Jesse Ryan before was using tambourine rhythm and that kind of stuff, this Calypsonian, people don't talk about it. But what this Calypsonian was doing was marrying Tobagonian, tambourine, and drum music, fiddle music, all those forms of music with the Trinidad and Tobago song. And so the bass line in this song is the Tobago fiddle. right? It's the exact same line of Tobago fill transmuted, translated onto the bass, creating one of the greatest bass lines of the modern age and one of the greatest songs of Trinidad and Tobago's modern age and of the world's modern age. Let me listen to the song and come back and talk about this great. Run the track, Krabby.
Hey, Calypsonian, challenge my reputation. He said he is the soca king. I can't make with the soca king. I call the mental hospital. Come quick to avoid a funeral. A man came in my house to beat me. He came in my house to bite me. I belong to the house of music. He's either crazy or real sick. But I don't want to sing that soca folk. I don't want to sing that soca folk. Just don't want to sing that soca folk. I don't want to sing that soca folk. That was confusion. I was transformed to a demon. I got mad and my eyes got red. Only wickedness in my head. My blood hot till it violent. I vex now I'm feeling to fight him. He came in my house to beat me. He came in my house to fight me. I belong to the house of music. He's either crazy or real sick. But I don't want to sing that soca folk. 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 I doing my own thing. Don't know why they molesting. I am musically sick. Mommy beat me with music stick. If I tackle the soca, the boat might turn over. And I don't want to sing that soca boat. Just don't want to sing that soca boat. I belong to the house of music. Be either crazy or real sick. I don't want to sing that soca boat. I don't want to sing that soca boat. I said I don't want to sing that soca boat. I don't want to sing that soca boat. You hear me?
Jack, may he also rest in peace. All these grandmasters who have departed from us. We are celebrating the life of Clive Alexander, co-founder of Kaiso Jazz, and we're listening to all the experiments in the 1970s that created modern Trinbago sound at the same time that Clive is experimenting with Schofield Pilgrim and coming up with the syntax of this new language called Kaiso Jazz. So all these experiments going on at the same time. So while Shorty experimenting with um, East Indian music and forms, Shadow bringing the Tobagonian influence, mixing that with the calypso. Here is this artist mixing stuff with R&B and funk. I'm talking about the great, late maestro, Cecil Lewis.
Anywhere you walk, that's the talk in New York. Hey, yeah.
great maestro, gone too soon. Experimenting his experiments, the sophistication of his experiments and his songwriting and arrangements and those kinds of things. Again, this is the golden age of the brass bands in Trinidad and Tobago. Edwards and the Brass Circle, Ronnie McIntosh's father, Artie Koto, inside that studio, Shark Studios. Hey, this is, of course, engineers, mixers like Eric Michaud, big up Eric Michaud, who that seminal that kind of thing album by Alexander, engineered and mixed by Eric. All of those passed through that massive studio in the back of Lots there that produced so much of the great music of the 70s big band music of Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, in the States, working with some of the top disco international record session musicians was this particular Calypsonian, who's now mixing the stuff with disco, which is happening at ground zero in the States, and he is playing with the session musicians in the American studios and that kind of stuff. And his fusions creates a different kind of soca again, a different avenue. Listen to him and we come back and we talk about this,
I don't mind when they try to treat me unkind and take away what is mine. These are things I could put behind. But I demand respect from the countryman, who at least they should understand. In a way, I'm an alien, partisan, man, who believe me own people call me foreigner, 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 foreigner. Bless their soul. Without a doubt, anything that you talking about in my country from north or south, I could walk straight and point it out. So shut your mouth, man. Understand? You should shame to call me foreigner, foreigner, foreigner. But don't ever call me Spread my culture where I go, but don't ever call me foreigner.
But we're talking about the man Lord Nelson, who then takes the music in another direction again. And this next tune I'm playing, you heard all these different experiments and that kind of stuff. I believe this particular song kind of represents the epic coming together of all the forces that were in the music at the time. The studios, the big bands, the brass bands, the arrangements, the kotos and stuff, the pan arrangements that happened at the time, the underground experiments, all these different fusions of soca and stuff. I believe they all come together in this song. I think this is probably the greatest, probably produced and the greatest song of that particular era. It's arguable. People could say it might be shallow, it might be this, it might be, people might have different ones that they might say it might be a old tanker song or whatever. But I believe this song is epic in its global scope, in its writing, in its poetry, in its arrangements, in everything, its conception. I'm talking about Stay Up Zimbabwe by the man Valentino. Run the track, right?
Stay we have to walk voodoo. My people shouting new room. Some the drums and some and the witch doctors to deal with those weird characters. Hey, calling them Zulu, calling them Juju, shouting Ashanti, calling Watusi. In South Africa and Rhodesia, blood will run like water. Prepare my brother for the bloody river. Just remember, brother, blood thicker than water. Stay up Zimbabwe, stay up Zimbabwe, stay up Zimbabwe, stay up Zimbabwe. To the freedom fighters, I declare, Africans' affair is my affair. Beyond Smith and Buster got to go. The revolution says so. Hey, calling them Zulu, calling them Juju, shouting Ashanti, calling Watusi. In South Africa and Rhodesia, blood will run like water. Prepare my brother for the bloody river. Just remember, brother, blood thicker than water. Stay up Zimbabwe, stay up Zimbabwe, stay up Zimbabwe, stay up Zimbabwe.
That is Stay Up Zimbabwe by Valentino, produced by the great Arthur D. Koto. Hey, Olia. So the songs that I played, a lot of those songs, those are 10 poles of the modern Trinbago sound. These are the things, as I said, this is where summer enters into the world. You know, this is us at the extreme ends of our excellence, you know, pushing the boundaries and that kind of stuff, experiments. Remember when these boys, these fellas, these are young boys doing these things, eh? These are the men getting musicians together and that kind of stuff, translating these new songs in the studio. And so we tip our hats to the foundation, and we tip our hats to Clyde Zander and those who did that work. And we have to tip our hats to those young guns in the present moment who pursuing those lines of experiment and who continuing the experiments and the pursuit of the lines of inquiry that were engaged in those times. So one such youth goes by the name of Jerry Anthony. Born, I think either born in Guyana, you know, he's Guyanese. of Guyanese descent. So Jerry, but he's here in Trinidad, he's been here for the longest while. He's adopted Trinidadian. Jerry has been pursuing that with his band West Indian Rhythm Connection. Incredible album that they did. Well, not really recorded as an album, it's live music that was put together at a particular point in time. And where those experiments that you could hear the lineage of all those things that you just heard going, retained and going further. And of course, you hear the David Rudder influence and all those things inside there too. So let's listen to the West Indian Rhythm Connection, Jerry Anthony and the boys there with Run Them. West Indian Rhythm Connection, Jerry Anthony apprenticing with the line of music that you heard before. And that's one of the reasons that, at a moment like this, the passing of a foundation pillar, a cornerstone, like Clive Zander, it's time for us to kind of take stock, meditate, go back into ourselves, and to take the wind, to see where's true north and which direction we're going in, and to matriculate again in the genius of those that went before, to feed us in our quest to go forward. And you hear that kind of exploration in the work of Jerry Anthony and the West Indian Rhythm Connection. Of course, this next artist was and is the one who held the line, who all those experiments found a home in at a kind of dark time in the music where all kind of weirdness was going on and that kind of stuff, and who kind of built new kinds of cathedrals of excellence out of the tradition at a kind of critical time, and held the line and was an inspiration for a whole generation of us that came next, who heard the clues of where to go in Tanka and Shadow and and others and that kind of stuff. But when we heard David, and later when we heard Resistance, we knew the exact way forward. And talking about David Rudder. And I wanted to play a song that's not normally played. David, as always, asked David to, play songs that, everybody calling for. I want to hear calypso every time I hear him as well. But, play, the normal songs and that kind of stuff and thing. But I want to hear some of these songs in the back catalog and stuff, which I find are incredible explorations and experiments and that kind of stuff. Here's David again, because the thing is about, as people also experiment with rhythm, melody, and all those different kinds of things, they also experiment with mood, and the ability of the music to say and take us into all the different dimensions of being, the 360 degrees of humanity. And this is David taking us there, a different place, with this incredible song of love, longing, sex, sensuality.
You're my fire queen, flaming lady, can't you see? You're my burning dream, flambeau woman. Start your camboulet, baby. Sister of the sun, can I feed me of your fire food? Sister of the sun, tell me that this love is good, this love is good, yes. I need your glowing fire to breathe, to thaw out my ice and stone. I need your gaming flame to feed me, because I'm so cold and all alone, yeah. Let me melt into your madness. Ain't no joke, this smoke I smell. Let me burn into your gladness. Diablo, keep his head
start your gambling. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, la 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 la. La 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 la.
One of the most beautiful passages of music in modern music, that ending there, that outro, that long outro of Fire Queen by David Michael Rudder. Incredible, incredible. And remember, I started off this tribute to the great late Clive Zander by saying that the phenomena of Kaiso jazz that he co-founded and co-created with Scofield Pilgrim, it was two lines of inquiry. One of them was jazz, which is this American syntax of conjugation that has to do with the American landscape and those kind of things. But the other part of it is Kaiso, and it's all those tributaries of improvisation that run within the Trinbago soul that is there in the pan and the soloing, and is there in the rhythm section, and is there in the extempo, and is there in that scatting that you just heard David Rudder doing for that entire long outro. All those things that come naturally to the Trinbagonian soul. All these are just chambers of Africa all over the world. Time portals, time machines and portals all over the place of transportation, all over the diaspora that these geniuses locate and find and unearth for us. You know? And so, Krabby, this is where we jumping back in to Xander. We started off with Ogun from that great album, Clive Xander, that kind of thing, Calypso Jazz Innovations. You just heard Rudder call Shango in Fire Queen. This is Xander taking the twin pillars of Kitch and Sparrow, you know, who straddled the music for that period of the 50s, 60s, 70s. So these are the fellows who came just before, right? Who dominated and monopolized that kind of space and that kind of thing, you know? We have to thank the gods for them. But all those things that we listened to earlier on were departures from them. All of them had to kind of go through Kitch and Sparrow to arrive at the things that they were experimenting with. And you could hear where they matriculated, but you could hear where they departed, you know? And of course, the point of departure, one was the Orisha yard, the Shango Baptist yard, the Hindu music, and all these other new forms and stuff. This is Clive going through Sparrow with Mr. Walker. Eh, Clive, boy, oh Lord, Clive. Eh, we never respected Clive Zander and gave him and Schofield their due. All the higher, them higher institutions, them institutions are higher learning, um, all blank Clive and stuff there, like when you wanted to come and lecture about what the thing is that portal that they created called Kaiso Jazz and what it meant to kind of uncover that exploration for young musicians to give them the keys to the kingdom. Them institutions are higher learning. Say, nah, we want to hear that and stuff, I mean, me and Clive were supposed to do a full retrospective books where he did all that theory and notations on music. I know that, thank God for Tony Woodruff and them who actually notated a lot of the music and that kind of stuff. But a lot of unrecorded music we would have heard. Unreleased music we would have heard, we would have compiled all those things. And, there's a whole set of unfinished business with Clive. But hopefully, in this period to come, we could do some of that work and consecrate him and consecrate that legacy that him and Schofield Pilgrim kind of created for us musicians and for all of us in the civilization of the diaspora in Trinidad and Tobago. We have to give Clive Zander his due. We must, and would it be the national award and all that kind of stuff posthumously. All that's one thing, but I talk about institutions created out of his name, where the music could live, the legacy could live, and youths could matriculate in it, and the nation could glory in that chamber and that machine that they created to take us further. I want to jump now, Krabby. All those who inside, we want loafers inside. I want you to hit that like button. I want you to tell us, send your comments and that kind of stuff, whether you're on the YouTube side, whether you're on the Facebook side, give us a shout out. I know you're sharing this stuff. Keep on sharing it. Keep bringing people inside. Remember, of course, this program is going to be recorded and it's there on the YouTube channel, on the Radio Toko YouTube channel. And you can play this, these 2 hours of music as you're driving in your car, as you're going about your work at office or at home, or you're just chilling and relaxing. You can play these things again and listen to these songs and listen to this commentary and listen to these, listen to the spiel and that kind of stuff and just enjoy all this stuff, all the programs from the past. This is program number 23 in this season of Indigenous. This is your home for Trinidad and Tobago underground music. We mainstream the local underground and globalize the Trinbago song. We've been doing this for 10 years, co-founded with myself and the great Sheldon Manu from the Artists Coalition of Trinidad and Tobago. Big up all the other board members, George Fortuny, Fabian Alfonso, Sean Randu, Sheldon Manu, Andre Reyes, the entire crew, Gregory Fernandez, the whole crew who changed the landscape of Trinidad and Tobago arts and stuff. All the different things that you have in place, all the enablers you have in place for the film industry, the heritage industry, all those things, the things that we put in place, all them things that you see in indigenizing and the curriculum and the spaces in Napa Sapa, all those things. Our battles made that so. That board of men who were victimized for that work and that kind of stuff, that's what we did. And one of the fruits of that stuff is this program here, Indigenous, hosted now by the great Radio Toko, the boy, Inspector, Selector, Krabby on that side. In the background, Karen X, Andre Williams, the whole crew, birthed out of the Toko Foundation, founder Michael Alves, big up the late great Michael Alves, big up all the great trade union leaders and that kind of stuff who held the line. Right, so I want to jump to the Ilan Pale. This is Ming, Michael Lau Shitong, who is another, I'm calling you a youth, Michael, another youth who's pursued, an elder youth who's pursued, the line of jazz and the inquiry and a lot of the legacies and traditions of the things that we've heard in the past, bringing together all kinds of musicians who had been discarded and all kinds of things, giving them a new space and space to flex their voices and that kind of stuff. One of the great catalogs of Trinidad and Tobago music, modern Trinidad and Tobago music, the Ilan Pale catalog of music, very much into the modern jazz, the kind of Bob James style and that kind of stuff, but also matriculating in traditions and that kind of stuff. Remember, former keyboardist of Charlie's Roots with David Rudder, Tambu, etc., and that kind of stuff. So Ming, and now been exceptional arrangements for people like Bonnet Bigfoot and that kind of stuff. Here's Ming and Ilan Pali with Just Another F in Jam, right? Featuring the late great Tony Voisin. We bigging up all the foundation men. Tony Voisin, rhythm guitarist for Charlie's Roots, and along with Junior Warwood, who's lead and that kind of stuff. The two guitarists of Charlie's Roots, the great the great Strummeisters, apprentice with Fitzroy Coleman. Run the track, Krabby. Another FN jam. The lesson of Clive is to trust the process, is to trust the process. Trust yourself. Trust your innate rhythm when you're moving forward. Trust yourself to conjugate the now and arrive at the solution. So the formal language of jazz and all those kind of things are phenomenal. It created this refined, elevated language and syntax for us to explore. But we also have our own language with which to conjugate the now. That extempore, you know, that immortal thing that wants to move and vibe in that way. We still have 2 new tunes to drop, eh? So let me jump straight into these 2 new tunes. We have our former gang leader. Well, the name of the song is Former Gang Leader. The song is by Gary Hector and it's a new song from off his Grammy-listed album, National Trash. New track, Gary Hector, Former Gang Leader. Run the track.
Simple misunderstanding, that's how it goes. Now there ain't no use in compromising. You gotta let it go. Unnecessary finger pointing, somebody's gonna get hurt. And now you try so hard to stop the bleeding. Whatever it's worth, yeah, I got kicked out my gang and sentenced to hang for something I never done. Now I'm on the run with an unloaded gun, just waiting for the sun to go down. You think I might be overreacting, yeah, you just might be right. You see, all I need is a little distracting on this long, lonesome night. And if you ever notice me dancing with my shadow out of sight, yes, she's the only one left standing, shadow dancing all night. Yeah, I got kicked out my gang and sentenced to hang for something I never done. Now I'm on the run with an unloaded gun, just waiting for the sun to go down. Yeah, baby, come rescue me with your sleight of hand. Yeah, I got kicked out my gang and sentenced to hang for something I never done. Yeah, I'm on the run with an unloaded gun, I'm just waiting for the sun to go down. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the sun to go down. Yeah, I'm waiting for the sun to go down.
And sister, his family and friends, and all those who knew him well. The great Clive Alexander passed, the co-founder of Kaiso Jazz. And closing off program for tonight, one more new track. We've been listening. This is another Grammy-listed album, Next, by great young artist MX Prime. This is Bay.
Standing there, you're the one with class and flair. Make me jump right out of my chair. Right into me eyes you a stare, and you a glare. Beat on me yacht, them coulda never keep with your bat. When you gonna be the chief of staff, me already feel that spark. Oh my gosh, yo, come close, give me your dose. I'll get you out of me scope. You're amazing. just you and I. Plant your flower in the garden, grow your rose in my garden. It a go get fertilized. Ha. Come close, give me a dose. I'll get you out of this stuff. You're amazing girl, blazing girl. Whoa, no joke. Give me a dose. I'll let you off of the ropes. You're amazing girl. Whoa, my baby, you're the rose in my garden. My baby, you're the rose in my garden. Baby, rose in my garden. My baby, you're the rose. My baby, you're the rose in my garden. My baby, you're the rose in my garden. Baby, rose in my garden. My baby, you're the rose.
Remember, every single Thursday, 9 to 11, Radio Toko, live streaming on the Radio Toko Facebook page and on the Radio Toko YouTube channel, Indigenous TNT. This is your home for Trinidad and Tobago underground music, mainstreaming the Trinidad and Tobago underground, globalizing the Trinidad and Tobago song. This is what we do. We've been doing it for 10 years. This is first show for 2022. Happy New Year to everybody out there. This particular program was in tribute to the late great Titan Clive Zander. And we saying over and out. Thank you for being part of the program, listening, spread the word. Remember, it's here on the YouTube channel. You could play it anytime you want. Go back and check out the other 23 shows that have been part of this season of Indigenous. Let me just go out with Oguna, Clive Zander Ogun, that we started the program with, Krabby. And you could go out with that. Rest in peace, Clive.
Our